Hello, welcome to OJ Studios. Please enjoy this week's chapter of In Pigtails and Protection by Olivia Julius.
We came back in after recess to find laptops on our desks. The classroom was abuzz with excitement as we walked in and spotted the sleek, shiny laptops sitting on each of our desks. The sight of new tech immediately captured the attention of the girls, who rushed to their seats, eagerly examining the devices. The atmosphere shifted from the carefree mood of recess to something more charged, more focused. Even Isabella seemed impressed, her eyes lighting up as she ran a hand over the laptop on her desk. "Wow, they're new," Isabella said, pulling out her chair and sitting down. "I didn't think we'd get these until later in the year." I hesitated for a moment before sitting down myself. The laptop in front of me looked top of the line, far more advanced than what you'd expect in a typical 4th grade classroom. It was clear that Harmony Lake spared no expense when it came to keeping up appearances, and technology. I stared at the sleek screen, my mind flashing back to the types of equipment I used in my old life. Computers had always been tools for gathering information, running operations, and keeping secrets. Now, here I was, in a classroom full of kids, being handed one like it was just another school supply. Mr. Bennett stood at the front of the room, hands clasped together as he waited for everyone to settle down. "Alright, everyone! As you've probably noticed, we have brand new laptops this year. These are yours for the entire school year, and you'll use them for assignments, projects, and, of course, learning how to navigate the digital world." He smiled, clearly trying to hype up the class, but I could sense something else. Maybe it was just my old instincts kicking in, but something about the sudden appearance of these laptops made me wary. There had been no mention of them earlier, and yet here they were, pristine, ready to be used. A gift? Or perhaps a way to monitor the students more closely? Mr. Bennett continued, oblivious to my inner thoughts. "Go ahead and power them on. Your usernames and passwords are on the sticky notes attached to the laptops. Once you're logged in, we'll start with a basic introduction to the system." I followed his instructions, peeling off the sticky note and typing in the information. The screen flickered to life, displaying the school's crest as it loaded the home screen. The interface was clean and simple, with links to different learning modules, assignments, and school resources. For the other kids, it was probably just a fun new toy, a gateway to online games and educational videos. But for me, every click of the keyboard felt like stepping into a minefield. I couldn't shake the feeling that these laptops were more than they seemed. Isabella nudged me, her face glowing with excitement. "This is awesome! We can finally do research for projects without going to the library every time." I nodded, forcing a smile. "Yeah, it's pretty cool." As the classroom hummed with the sounds of excited students exploring their new laptops, I couldn't shake the lingering feeling that something wasn't right. These machines weren't just shiny new tools for learning, they felt like traps waiting to spring. My instincts were screaming at me to stay alert, but I had to play along, at least for now. Isabella was already diving into the online resources, her enthusiasm palpable. She clicked through the menus, eager to explore all the features the laptop had to offer. I, on the other hand, moved more cautiously. I navigated the interface, looking for any signs of hidden programs or monitoring systems, but everything seemed clean, too clean. It wasn't just the laptop that felt suspicious, it was the entire setup, like it had been placed in our hands with a purpose beyond education. Mr. Bennett walked around the room, checking in with each student to make sure everyone was logged in and getting the hang of things. When he reached my desk, I straightened up, forcing myself to look engaged. "Everything okay, Tina?" he asked with that calm teacher's smile. Yeah, just figuring it out, I replied, keeping my tone light. He nodded and moved on, but I caught a brief flicker of something in his expression, curiosity, perhaps? Or was it something else? I wasn't sure, but I made a mental note to watch him closely. Mr. Bennett seemed like the kind of person who knew more than he let on. The rest of the lesson passed in a blur of basic computer skills and instructions on how to access the school's digital library. While the other students were engrossed in their new devices, I kept my focus split, half on the lesson, half on scanning for anything unusual in the system. After what felt like an eternity, the bell rang, signaling the end of the school day. The girls immediately packed up their bags, chattering excitedly about their laptops and plans for the evening. I shut down my computer and gathered my things. As Isabella finished packing up her own bag, we walked out of the classroom together, the hum of conversation buzzing all around us. The energy from the day hadn't worn off, and Isabella was still bubbling with excitement about the laptops. "Can you believe it? This year's going to be amazing with these," she said, grinning as she hugged her laptop to her chest. "I'm going to get all my homework done so fast now." I smiled, but my mind was elsewhere, still preoccupied with the unsettling feeling that something wasn't right. The shiny new laptops, Mr. Bennett's watchful eye, and the strange sense of control I was losing over my body, it all added up to something bigger than just a regular school year. "Yeah, let's just hope they don't overload us with homework," I said, trying to keep the conversation light. Isabella laughed. "With you and me as a team, we'll breeze through it." As we made our way back to the dorm, I couldn't help but scan the hallways, my instincts still on high alert. There was something about the way the other students moved, the way the teachers seemed to watch us, it was subtle, but the feeling of being under surveillance was hard to shake. Back in the dorm room, we set our laptops on our desks, and Isabella immediately began customizing hers with stickers and wallpapers. I, on the other hand, sat down at my desk, staring at the blank screen. The more I thought about it, the more I realized that these laptops were likely more than just tools for learning. They could be tracking our every move, monitoring our online activity, maybe even listening in on conversations. Isabella looked over at me, her brow furrowed in concern. "You okay, Tina? You seem a little distracted." I snapped out of my thoughts and forced a smile. "It's nothing," I replied. "Good," Isabella said. She then grabbed something from her wardrobe and put it next to me on my desk. "So, how much do you know about ballet?" she asked. I looked at her questionably, only then to look over and see she put down a light blue ballet leotard and white tights onto my desk.